All right, I just got back from my Mediterranean cruise, and I wanted to put a video together that talked a little bit about some of the ways you can get around, maybe save some money. Um, I looked around on the internet before I went on this trip and couldn't really find a lot of good information, nothing that was clear. And if you try and find out, or if you ask them on the cruise ship, they're not really very helpful. All they want to do is sell their own tours. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. They have to make money like everybody else, but a lot of their tours are very expensive, and a lot of the things you can kind of do on your own. So here are some different ways that you could potentially get around to some of the different spots. Let's talk about Florence for a minute now. If you go to Florence, the cruise ship offers a shuttle that will take you to the train that you can go into Florence or Pisa. It's not very expensive, but there is an issue with it. It's not the worst way to go, but the problem is there's one shuttle that takes you to the train in the morning, and then the only shuttle coming back is a 4:15 shuttle, which basically means if you go into Florence, you have to take a 3 o'clock train back in order to make the 4:15 shuttle. So you're kind of tied to that, and if you get back early, you're going to be sitting around waiting for it. So that's one way to go. Another thing you can do is just a short distance from where you get off the cruise ship, you can actually just take, there's a public bus. It's the 1A bus that takes you right to the train station. And that's a lot less expensive. It's like a euro, it's like a euro 50. So it's very inexpensive. And the good part about that is then when you come back later, you can take any bus you want. You just wait for the next bus and you can take that back to the train, back to the ship. So that's another way to go. Here's another thing. Depending on what you want to do or what your plans are, you could either take the train directly into Florence, or you could also take the train and get off at the Pisa stop. Like I said with Rome, you need to have your ticket stamped. Once you stamp the ticket, it's good for 4 hours. So you could take the train towards Florence, get off at Pisa. You could go over, see the Leaning Tower. There's not really much else around there. So you could literally go see the Leaning Tower, come back, get back on the train, and then head towards Florence if that's something you want to do. So it gives you another option. This way you don't have to pay for a separate train in order to do that. Be aware the trains do run about once an hour, so they don't run all that often. So keep that in mind when you're making your plans. A couple other things. One is make sure you do not forget to stamp your ticket after you get it at the train station. You have to stamp it before you get on the train. This way they know it's used. If you don't, and if they come around, there's a very hefty fine. So that's something you want to make sure that you do.